my channel. My name is Michelle Amoré, and today I have a really interesting video for you guys. So I recently took a trip to Mallorca in Spain. It's part of the Balearic Islands? The Balearic Islands and the Balearic Sea off the coast of Spain. I had an incredible time, but when I was in the process of trying to plan the trip and get information, I experienced a lot of difficulty, and so I wanted to make this video to help guide other people making this trip, because I know I experienced difficulty and I really want to help give out first-hand experience and advice on how you can plan your trip to Mallorca. As an American tourist, I found out that it's not really a place that's commonly frequented by Americans. It's more so like a European tourist location. So I think that's part of the reason why there wasn't a lot of available information for travel there as an American. So hopefully this video is going to help you guys as you plan your trip to Mallorca. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that it is incredibly important that you rent a car. This is not the type of city like Paris or any like large international city where you can easily just go ahead and jump on the bus station or get the metro or whatever to get your way around. You definitely need a car, and a rental is just the perfect situation for this. The island is pretty big. I found that in our stay that from one side of the island to the next, you're looking at over an hour drive, up to 2 sometimes. So a car is really important in order for you to be able to access all the different beaches and stuff on the island and really make the most of your time there. Now, I will suggest, we had an issue with renting the car, so we made a reservation on Expedia beforehand, and when we got to the airport, they were just telling us that the price was just really ridiculous, and so we went to a different kiosk at the airport at the arrivals, and we found that they had much more affordable prices, and we went ahead and rented our car through them. I will leave the name and the information of the company we used down below. I highly recommend them. They were very, very affordable and great customer service. It was just amazing. In regards to pre-booking, I recommend not pre-booking, but wait until you get to the actual airport to go ahead and book your car. Understand that this is just dependent on when you're coming. We are in the middle of a pandemic and it's low tourism season, so I think that's why it was a lot easier for us to just go ahead and book the car while we got there. So just keep in mind, based off what time you're traveling to Mallorca, it might be better for you to go ahead and book beforehand, but I would definitely recommend booking directly on that car rental company's website and not through a third party like Expedia or kayak.com or anything else. Now, in regards to cars, maybe you guys are a lot more experienced with cars. I definitely wasn't. I didn't know there was really a big difference between manual and automatic. And I've been driving for over 6 or 7 years, but I just didn't know. And apparently manual is more common in Europe, so be careful. Those were the cheapest cars, but if you're not familiar driving with that, you're not gonna want to try figuring it out in a foreign country. So it is a bit pricier to do automatic, but it's definitely worth it. I think we upgraded with about 25 euros to get an automatic car, and it was just perfect. My second tip in regards to driving around the island, I found that it was a very easy island to drive around, and this is coming from someone who hates driving. I've been in car accidents. I'm not the best driver, and it is what it is, but I found that it wasn't too difficult to drive over there. From one beach to the next, it's pretty much a straight shot. I mean, you have to go through roundabouts and stuff, but it wasn't too difficult. But I would recommend familiarizing yourself with basic street signs and signals on the road for how to navigate a rotunda or the yield signs and what they look like and things of that nature. You can easily do that with a quick Google search or some videos or whatnot, but I think that's going to really help minimize confusion while you're on the road and just keep you a lot more safe while you're driving in a foreign country. My next tip is to bring hiking shoes. One of the beaches we went to was literally in the crevice of 2 mountains, and you had to hike down to be able to get to that beach area. It was amazing. It was worth the hike, even though we did it in flip-flops and stuff, but it was definitely worth it. But to make it a lot more bearable, I'd recommend bringing hiking shoes just in case you find yourself in similar terrain, so it'd be a lot easier for you to navigate, and you'd be able to have greater access to all the things you'd want to do on the island. My next tip is to maximize your days. So this is definitely the kind of trip where you want to make a pit stop at the supermarket and like load up on like fruits and veggies and things you need for like breakfast foods and whatnot, or snacks on the beach, because you don't want to spend too much time looking for places to eat. Europe is interesting, and I think also because of the pandemic, things have definitely changed, but we definitely had difficulties with finding restaurants and stuff to eat at times that we wanted to eat, because they have siesta in Spain, and it just really interfered and like messed up with our routine and stuff. So definitely have food that you stock up on just in case, and especially in the mornings, you don't want to spend your morning trying to eat at a restaurant or anything. Just have something quick and easy to go, because another thing about Mallorca, especially with the time that we went, the sun set pretty early, like around 5:30, 6 latest, the sun was already down. And so when you want to spend a day just sightseeing and exploring and spending your time at the beach, you don't want to take much time out of that by spending time in the morning or even during lunchtime at restaurants and just wasting time away. So make sure you stay stocked up on quick and easy foods and snacks that you can eat throughout the day. My next tip is to not stay in Las Palmas, like the city that you fly into. Definitely go ahead and book an Airbnb or find a hotel or whatever you prefer that's out in like where the beaches are on the coast and stuff like that. The prettiest beaches are not in Las Palmas. It's a very like commercial city, lots of restaurants and stuff like that. I think that's the kind of city where you should plan to do on your last day. The way we planned it, it worked out perfectly. So we drove out to our Airbnb, which is like an hour or so away from the airport, and we used that as our starting point to go to the different beaches across the island. And then on our last day, when we drove back to Las Palmas to return our rental and head on to our flight to Madrid, we went ahead and used that day to explore Las Palmas. We went to the Santa Maria Basilica or Cathedral and just explored around the city. So that I think was the perfect way to do it, because Las Palmas is beautiful, but you don't need like so much time, especially if you're on a time crunch. Definitely reserve the bulk of your time out near the beaches and the mountains and explore all that good nature. My next tip is to come with water shoes. We had difficulties with like swimming and being in the water because some of the beaches, or at least the one that was between the two mountains, was very rocky. So just in case you find yourself in a similar area or at a similar beach, just come prepared and equipped with water shoes so you can really make the most of your time there and get in the water and do everything you want to do and not have to worry about comfortability and things of that nature. And then my next tip is in regards to currency and money. I found Mallorca to be a very credit card friendly place, and that's typically my preference while traveling, but I would definitely suggest bringing euros just in case. There are certain, especially when you go out near the mountains and stuff, or not mountains, I keep saying mountains, but they look like mountains. When you go around near the beaches and coastline and stuff like that, and you run into like smaller shops or smaller restaurants, sometimes they'll have issues with credit card machines and stuff like that. So go ahead and have euros on hand just in case you run into a situation like that. And now my last tip is in regards to your itinerary and building an appropriate itinerary. Like I said, some of our beaches were like an hour or two away from each other. So what I would recommend when trying to plan your trip to Mallorca is to make a list of all the different beaches that you'd want to do or places you'd want to go in Mallorca, and then figure out the distance from one beach to the next. That way you can couple them depending on how many days you're going to be there. So let's say Monday you're going to hit these two beaches that are like 30 minutes or an hour away. You don't want to be in a position where it's like a 2-hour drive to get from one beach to the next. So just make sure you know beforehand what beaches and stuff you'd like to go to, and then plan your schedule accordingly, and also plan your Airbnb stay accordingly as well. So I hope these tips were helpful. Down below I'll leave the link to the Airbnb we stayed at and all the different beaches and things of that nature that we also went to. And go ahead and like, share, subscribe, because I will definitely be posting my Mallorca vlog very soon, where you guys can see all the amazing things we did in Mallorca and how much of an incredible time we had there. And with that said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag do. You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag do. Oh.